After 9 years on the market, Mazda's bestseller SUV is about to get completely redesigned. The new CX-5 will be an evolution over the current one in every possible way, that being comfort, frugality, reliability, and quality, all of which were already the CX-5's strong suits over its rivals. This will bring the CX-5 into the 2020s and allow it to elevate itself above its rivals, ensuring it the title of the best compact SUV in the segment. So, let's not waste any more time and take a deep dive into the all-new 2026 Mazda CX-5 and how it blows away its competition. New but familiar design. Mazda values tradition and evolution instead of revolution, and this philosophy will be present with the CX-5 too. The upcoming generation of the venerable SUV will borrow many of its styling cues from the now outgoing model, while also borrowing quite a bit of stuff from the CX-50 and CX-70 models. As a result, the CX-5 will gain a new, larger grille, accompanied by a set of new, sleeker headlights that resemble those on the CX-50. However, the plastic cladding found on the CX-50 will not transition to the CX-5, allowing it to retain its more traditional and much more elegant idea of exterior styling. The side profile will be mostly similar to the current model, with the only real difference being the rear roofline, which will now be more conventional and a bit more squared off. Sure, it will take away from the overall sleekness, however, it will improve interior space drastically, but more on that later. Finally, the rear design will be a drastic change compared to the current generation, and the CX-50 bearing a striking resemblance to the CX-70 and CX-90 with long horizontal taillights, sharper lines, and a taller license plate position that will allow the CX-5 to look both bigger and bolder. All in all, in terms of styling, the CX-5 will be a true looker and will by far be the best looking Mazda on sale. An expanded choice of powertrains. For those of you that are worried about the future of Mazda's 2.5-liter four-cylinder siblings, don't worry, they'll remain the staple of the CX-5 range. However, you can expect an addition of an all-new hybrid to the lineup. This hybrid will use the 2.5-liter naturally aspirated engine, and when combined, it will produce somewhere between 220 HP and 230 HP, making it peppy enough for most drivers. Now, we know what you're thinking. Isn't this the same hybrid powertrain that debuted in the CX-50 and which has been shared between various Toyota models? Well, no. This new engine will use the 2.5 Skyactiv G engine as its basis, which has been done to both allow Mazda achieve autonomy from Toyota in this segment, while also reducing fuel consumption. Mazda's Skyactiv engines are unbelievably frugal, even more so than Toyota's, and this will allow the CX-5 to achieve fantastic MPG figures that either rival or exceed the RAV4 and the CX-50. Plus, because Mazda will be using its own powertrain, you can expect them to use their own transmissions too. The 6-speed automatic gearbox, to be precise, which will drastically expand the CX-5's use outside of town, which has been both the CX-50 and the RAV4's Achilles heel due to their CVT gearbox. As a result, the CX-5 hybrid will appeal to a much wider audience than the majority of its hybrid rivals. But if you're not sold on hybrids due to the price or mediocre performance, you'll still be able to go for a cheaper, non-hybrid version, which will be offered with either a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated engine or a 2.5 turbo, both of which will retain their 187 HP and 250 HP power output. Improved interior space. One of the more vocal complaints of the CX-5 was the interior space. Now, don't get us wrong, the CX-5 wasn't bad or anything, but it really wasn't anything to write home about. With only 39.6 inches of rear legroom and 39 inches of headroom in the back, the CX-5 is only average in its segment, if that too. It offers some half an inch of headroom less than the RAV4, and around the same when compared to the CX-50's legroom in the back. The front seats are better. However, many have been complaining about how small and stiff the seats are, which reduces interior comfort despite being generally spacious. Thankfully, this will all be drastically improved with the upcoming generation, as Mazda has gone above and beyond to make the CX-5 as spacious and as comfortable as possible. As we previously mentioned, the rear headroom will be increased, courtesy of the straight roofline, which will translate to the rear seats being noticeably more spacious compared to the current model, with around 40 inches of headroom. The legroom will rival the CX-50, allowing passengers in the back to have a bit more space for their legs compared to most of the competition. The trunk space will remain the same, clocking in at around 30 cubic feet with the seats up, which is pretty okay and will be more than enough. That said, headroom and cargo space will be reduced a bit if you go for the hybrid, and the headroom will go even further down if you equip the CX-5 with a sunroof, but that is to be expected. In addition to that, the seats will also be padded better, allowing for a softer and much more comfortable support for your butt and back. Which brings us to the next point of our video: top-of-the-line material quality. The CX-5 has always been regarded as one of the best, if not the best-made non-premium compact SUV. This is due to various reasons, most notable of which is, well, the choice of materials, with the icing on the top being the fact that the CX-5 is made in Japan, which is why it's generally regarded as a more robust vehicle than the CX-50 in terms of build quality. This will only be amplified with the new model, which will continue production in Japan, thus ensuring the build quality to be perfect. As for the material quality, everything will be pristine. Higher trim levels will come with specially quilted leather seats, a leather-wrapped dashboard with wood accents, as well as a fully digital gauge cluster, a large 12.3-inch screen that is dial-operated and touchscreen. Design-wise, you can expect a marginally scaled-down CX-70 interior, and the quality shouldn't be far off either, allowing the CX-5 not just to elevate itself over its direct rivals, but also the likes of the Mercedes GLC, which is a far more expensive vehicle. Even better comfort and driving dynamics. The CX-5 has been a pretty good vehicle in terms of how well it drove and how comfortable it was. However, truth be told, it was a bit torn on what it wanted to be. It was too stiff to be a proper family vehicle and too comfort-oriented to feel actually sporty. Thankfully, the CX-50 now offers a sporty, nimble ride, allowing the CX-5 to focus more on the comfort side, allowing it to easily wrestle against its rivals in this regard and win. As a result, the new CX-5 will offer a much tamer suspension setup, which, combined with its soft seats and comfortable interior, will translate to a class-leading ride. Plus, because it will be a Japanese-made vehicle, the suspension dampening and interior isolation is expected to be fantastic, especially since Mazda has been focused on improving this since the introduction of the CX-70. Plus, thanks to its relatively short and wide wheelbase, it has the luxury of being softer than usual, without losing any of its driving characteristics. The new CX-5 shouldn't be any less engaging to drive than the current model, with only ever so slight changes to how the body behaves in the bends, but once again, very unnoticeable. So, if you want a compact crossover that will feel like a properly luxurious vehicle, the CX-5 is the vehicle for you. Pricing and trim levels. Despite all of these changes, the CX-5 will remain a relatively attainable vehicle, remaining less expensive than the CX-50. In fact, the trim lineup will remain the same as the outgoing model, and the pricing will range from $31,000 to $38,000 for the non-turbo model, and from $39,000 to $43,000 for the turbo. The base model CX-5S will start from around $30,000, and for that money, you'll be getting all the essentials: comfortable cloth seats, automatic climate controls, a big screen with CarPlay and Android Auto, as well as a generally nice and upmarket interior. This will be the best value for money out of them all, and we'd highly suggest you wait for it to arrive. As for the hybrid, it'll start from around $34,000 and go to $43,000. And once again, we'd argue that the base preferred hybrid represents the most bang for your buck out of the lineup. That's not to say that the rest of the lineup will be rubbish. It won't. In fact, whatever model you buy, you'll be more than happy with it, as the CX-5 will truly be the best compact crossover there is. As for its release, considering the fact that the spy shots have leaked recently, we're more than confident about it being revealed in a couple of months, with production being reserved for the last quarter of this year.